In this episode of Plywood Desks, we're going to take 2 giant sheets of plywood and make them much smaller. I make my cut lists in MaxCut Community Edition. It's free and I've covered it in the past. You can see I've already added most of the dimensioning, but I still need to add in the leg structures. Enter in the details from Fusion 360, set the quantity to 4 for a single leg section, and pay attention to the grain direction. Repeat that with the horizontal leg section. With those added, the 2 leg structures get grouped, then duplicated, as there will be 3 square leg frames per desk. Clicking Optimize generates the cut list, then, since I'm happy with it, I can generate the PDF output. I like the look of job layout, but it does still produce some craft, so I like to load it into Illustrator and then color code it. It's a little tedious, but I found it much easier to work with. So this is going to look like a pretty funny angle for the workshop. We're right at the garage door at one edge where the lathe was previously. Because these sheets are quite heavy, I can't move them into a more ideal spot, and I want them down lower, mostly so I didn't have to lift them up. These sheets weigh in at about 45 kilos, so they're not for the faint of heart. Unfortunately, I'm working by myself, so I don't have much option but to break them down first, using the track saw, and then take the smaller parts to the table saw. We're going to start with the desk top on both of these sheets, and that comes in at 1800 by 800. The reason for starting with that is it's the largest section and it's the most visible, so we want that to be as protected as possible, so getting it out of the workshop is actually beneficial for actually working in here and for protecting the top. So I've got the cut list from the last episode coloured in so it's easier to visually group all the bits and pieces. Before we get to cutting, I do have the 2 sheets on the sawhorses. In between the 2 sheets I've got some 3mm MDF. That'll act as a buffer so I'm not cutting into the sheet below, but otherwise you could use foam or any other sort of sacrificial surface. I find this not only improves the cut quality because you're cutting into the material below you, but it also improves dust collection because the dust doesn't have anywhere to go but into the vacuum. I've covered this before as well, but before a large job, I like to give my blades a quick clean. 90% of the time the blade isn't dull, it just needs a clean to remove all the built up pitch and resin. I use CMT's Formula 2050, but there are other options out there. I put the blade into a flower pot saucer, spray on the cleaner, wait 5 minutes, then all the gunk just wipes off. Onto the actual cutting. I broke down the remaining sections of plywood into more manageable pieces before batching out all the strips. By making everything the same width, this process really flew along. The long remaining piece got cut in half with the track saw. This is a good argument for having a shorter track on hand. This separates out into the parts that will form the long stretcher / cable run at the back of the desk. The remainder of that could be then ripped to width. Finally, everything is cut to length using a stop block on the crosscut sled. For the longer pieces, I used a stop block attached to my table saw fence, but pay attention to how the block is only a reference point and not along the full length of the fence so it doesn't cause any binding issues. So that's it for this episode. In the next episode we'll be covering the glue ups or the laminations of the pieces, and as you can see these ones are just coming out of clamps now. Quite a few left to go. In that episode we'll also be covering cleaning up using tools like this. Then on to the next episode, there'll be joinery, pre-finishing all the componentry, as well as an episode just on the tops of the desks because they've got some special stuff going on. Thanks for watching.